Welcome back to ABC News Live Weekend. We want to get to some big legal cases we're following in this week's Burden of Proof. New York City's embattled Mayor Eric Adams heads back to court this week after pleading not guilty to federal charges on Friday. He's accused of taking bribes and illegal campaign contributions. Reality TV star Julie Chrisley was resentenced to 84 months in prison this week. Her family stunned by the decision after hoping a judge would reduce her sentence for her 2022 bank fraud and tax evasion conviction. And the start date for the trial of the University of Idaho murders suspect is now in limbo as he appears in front of a new judge in Boise just days ago. Bryan Kohberger's lawyers are fighting to take the death penalty off the table. So let's bring in former federal prosecutor and president of West Coast Trial Lawyers, Neama Rahmani. Neama, good to see you. Let's begin with Mayor Adams. These charges, very serious. Obviously, the prosecution suggests that Adams was very much aware of these improper donations and gifts. His attorneys are asking for the charges to be dismissed, just to be dropped. What do you make of the defense strategy that we've seen so far? This is it's a sweeping indictment.
Well, Phil, defense attorneys say all sorts of things, and obviously there's a legal case here, but a PR and public relations one as well. Let's not forget, this is a sitting mayor, and that's why this indictment is so unprecedented. He's fighting for his life, but also his political career. So there is going to be that component. But like you said, I mean, the allegations of receiving money from foreign nationals, straw donors, unreported gifts, business class tickets, luxury hotels, and then outright allegations of bribery, approving the Turkish consulate despite it not having the required fire department permits because of pressure from political officials in Turkey. So the mayor has an uphill battle both inside and outside the courtroom.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how this matching donation thing that turned into $10 million of taxpayer money, I guess, will sit in the court of public opinion. I want to turn to reality star Julie Chrisley right now. Her defense attorney slamming the federal judge's decision not to reduce her sentence. But now Chrisley's daughter, Savannah, called the judge's decision politically motivated, saying the judge was appointed during the Obama administration. Now, there is no evidence that this was politically motivated. However, what can you say about the politicizing judges and prosecutors from defendants, including former President Trump? We saw him do that. Mayor Eric Adams has said this kind of thing. What do you think of that?
Again, I'm shaking my head. We see defense attorneys using this tactic. We see defendants. I mean, the Chrisleys in particular have maintained their innocence. They blame their accountant. I mean, they were convicted, both of them, Todd and Julie, at a jury trial, despite maintaining their innocence. They are not innocent. They were found guilty. And of course, in Adams' case, he's saying it's racially motivated, even though U.S. Attorney Damian Williams is also African-American. And he's saying that the Biden administration is going after him because of his stance on migrants. But with respect to Chrisley, the resentencing, it was just a procedural issue. The judge had already deviated downward, accepted a sentence less than the recommendation of the government. So really the question was, to what extent was Julie responsible for the fraud? Was it the full amount that Todd was? There were some questions of the allegations relating to 2007 and earlier. But ultimately, she got a reduction already. The judge just had to calculate the sentencing guidelines correctly, which they did, and she's in the same position that she was before.
All right, let's move to Bryan Kohberger, charged in the Idaho College murder trial. He got the venue moved. Now he's in front of a new judge. His attorney wants him to be able to wear his own street clothes, not the orange jumpsuit. He said, fine. But what do you think it's going to be about? You think he'll let him do that in the future? And I guess I know why they're doing this, but you tell us why.
Well, I think that's appropriate. And, Bryan Kohberger obviously is fighting for his life. And, it can be prejudicial to show up in prison garb before the jurors. And what the defense is doing is trying to do everything they can to save his life. We know it's very difficult to get a not guilty verdict when there's a death penalty qualified juror. So whether it's moving the trial or wearing civilian clothes, that's everything that the defense is trying to do to save his life.
All right, Neama Rahmani, thank you so much for taking the time. Do appreciate you going through the trials with us.
Of course. Thanks for having me, Phil.